Hey guys, Wolfie here with a video for Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera on Global for the 25th of August 2020. This will be the September calendar preview. So with this, I do have a confession to make here. So regarding the stream itself, which was yesterday afternoon, I actually caught the tail end of the stream. However, because Josh was going too fast when it came down to bringing back the slides, I couldn't keep up with some parts of it, and I was forced to watch the replay to get everything. So with that bit out of the way, I will be referring to the Dissidia database website, because there are some parts of the stream which the website will pretty much cover in the sense of synergy, all that stuff. So the link to the Dissidia database website will be in the description below. So that's that on that. I do have another thing to say here, and I might sound a bit congested because, I mean, I'm not so sure what exactly it is. I mean, I do have an idea, but I just don't want to say it, you know, and I'm not a doctor and all that, but I might sound congested in this video, so, which is something I am getting over. So please do forgive me on that. So that's that on that. Another thing here, I am still looking at rooms, so I should be making a decision on Thursday, which means I could be moving next Tuesday or next Wednesday. So that bit, and then the other thing here is that it is the usual disclaimer. Any opinions in this video are my opinion and my opinion only. So with that bit out of the way, there is quite a bit to go over here. So on that note, I will meet you all at the home screen. I am back, so we're gonna go over a few things here and there. So with that, we're gonna be in this menu for a little bit, so that way it helps explain some parts here. So we're gonna go into the maintenance. It is going to be tomorrow morning. So for those of you near the United Kingdom, the maintenance period tomorrow morning will be from 8 to 10:30 in the morning. So for those of you in the Central Daylight Time Zone like I am, it's going to be 3 to 5:30 in the morning. So with that, we're going to go into the regarding the enhancement points. So this is one of those, just pause the video, take a screenshot, because it will explain certain things here that it may take for me forever to do. And now we're going to be revisiting something that was in the in-game notices a while ago. And it's going to be regarding the Psychoquest. So we do have information on this from the stream that relates to this. So, with that, there is going to be regarding the renewal of the Psychoquest. So it's going to be simplified. So you see here, you have level 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and then level 70. It's going to be simplified to just 10, 40, and 70. With the level 70 quest introducing the tier 4 shards. I like this because we don't have to rely on the Dissidia points as much. Now, with that bit out of the way, we're also going to be seeing a removal of the Psychoquest keys, which means we can go into any Psychoquest whenever we want. Now, regarding this is, and I think they did mention this on the stream, but I'm not going to go into it into much detail because we don't know if it's a proper collab or not. But we do know that with Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, there is a remaster coming out later on this week for mobile, which is free. And there's also another version for the Nintendo Switch alongside the PlayStation 4. So the reason why there's a potential collab, meaning that there's more rewards. There is, I mean, well, here's the thing. So you might as well watch the stream to catch this particular information, because honestly, I just don't want to say something that's incorrect. So we do know there is a potential collab between DFFOO and Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Remastered. We just don't know if it's 100% true at this time. Now we're going to go into some other stuff that was mentioned in the stream. So we're going to go into the Dissidia Points Exchange, because there's going to be some changes coming along. Now, we do know that we will no longer be seeing the Psychoquest keys here. Instead, we're going to be seeing character lines that will come out, I believe, in groups of 2 over time. So, we do know that Warrior, Light, and Garland will be the first 2. In sense of like character lines being released in the Dissidia Points Exchange. And we're going to go into a couple of other things here and there. So, with the scroll bar for like varying aspects, I know inventory being one of them, you can drag the inventory bar, which is a real treat right there. Now, when it comes down to the ability order, I'm going to go into my thing here because pretty much the easiest one to reach for me. So we notice here that in the past for Global that we were only able to change the first 4, or depending on whoever has their LD weapon and or burst. But now we can change the order to whatever we want. This also includes your standard Brave attack and standard HP attack. And not only that, you can also do this for your support units as well. Again, a real treat. Now we're going to go into the spheres because there's another change coming with there. So when it comes down to spheres, you can now replicate them. And I do want to warn everybody that when it comes down to replicating the spheres, the duplicates will not be as potent as the originals. And when it comes down to certain aspects to getting the items needed to make the replicate, to make the duplicate stone, and I can barely English right now, so it is clear as day. What I was trying to say is that when it comes down to duplicating the spheres, is that some parts of, in sense of like what you need, is that they are treated as if they were tokens from character events and co-ops. So once they're gone for good. And when it comes down to replicating the spheres, you need certain items alongside tier 4 and tier 5 crystals, shards. So with that bit out of the way, we're also going to be seeing the debut of the sphere. Let's see. Let me see if I can get my notes here, because I can barely. So we're going to be seeing a sphere reset zone, and basically, let's just say here, because I picked Fang, because I may have put on a wrong sphere, although she does have a ranged attack in her EX ability. So what a sphere? Wow, I can barely talk right now. So basically, a sphere reset stone does is that it takes away the sphere from any character without losing the sphere. And the thing is, with the Dissidia Points Exchange, this will also be moved over to the token exchange to make things a lot easier for the player. Now, when it comes down to the sphere reset stones, this will be a part of the weapon enhancement chest going forward. So, with that bit out of the way, we're going to go into some stuff pertaining content, but I will be pausing the video. That way I can gather my thoughts, so I will be back. I am back, so like I said, I had to, gather my thoughts, all that stuff. So we're going to go into character enhancement boards at some point during the September calendar. There are 3 characters I have written down. These will more than likely be confirmed for the October calendar, but it's a bit of a wait and see on those, so I will include them here to be on the safe side. And with an explanation on why later on in the video. So we have here the following getting their character enhancement boards. Locke from Final Fantasy VI, Walker from Final Fantasy X, Both the Year from Final Fantasy XII, Gambit from Final Fantasy XII, Odin from Final Fantasy XV, Leon from Final Fantasy II, Vivi from Final Fantasy IX, Machina and Rem from Final Fantasy Type 0, Fang from Final Fantasy XIII, Seven from Final Fantasy Type 0, Fran from Final Fantasy XII, Irvine from Final Fantasy VIII, Barrett from Final Fantasy VII, Maria from Final Fantasy II, Lilith from Final Fantasy XI, Bosch from Final Fantasy XII, 9 for Final Fantasy Type 0, Renewal for Final Fantasy 8, and Sid for Final Fantasy 7. So those are the characters, and like I said, 3 of them were not even mentioned in the September calendar. They are going to be most likely confirmed for October. Again, I'll explain this when we get to a certain point. Now we're going to go into something that's coming up on the 27th of August. One of them is going to be Act 2, Chapter 10. This is the main story. This will have the global debut of Gabrith, Final Fantasy 12. He will be coming with his alternate costume. And this will have the LD Amber's weapon for Vaughn. So, and I do want to point out here with Act 2, Chapter 10 is that this is the final chapter in the main story where the chapter comes out as a complete chapter. So, we have that. We also have some stuff going on inside the World of Illusions. We have the return of Carbuncle's treasures, alongside the double drop for the Radiant Artifact tokens. This is going to be a part of the Enhanced campaign, and this will also have 2 sets of additional daily missions. Now, when it comes down to Reworks, we're going to be seeing, this is going to be part of the list. It's a bit of a wait and see in this regard. So we have Noctis from Final Fantasy 15 gaining his second rework. Leon from Final Fantasy 2 is also a second rework. Vivi, he's getting, I believe, his first rework. Bosch from Final Fantasy 12 is gaining a rework. Maria from Final Fantasy 2 is gaining a rework. Renewal is going to be getting a rework soon, alongside Sid from Final Fantasy 7. Now, with Maria and Renewal, I will be explaining them alongside Lilith Set's potential character enhancement boards later on in the video. So, with that, we are, as far as I know, we are not going to get any free multi-pulls, and it looks like the weapon enhancement bundles are going to be the more prevalent one, alongside alternate costumes. Now, speaking of alternate costumes, we're going to be seeing the following characters get one, whether it be returning or brand new. It is going to be Locke, Vaughn, Noctis, Fran, Paladin, Cecil, and Gabrith. So with that, we're also going to be seeing, let me see if I can grab my notes here, because again, my stuff is all over the place. Okay, so on the 31st of August is going to be the Lost Chapter for Machina from Final Fantasy Type 0. This has an EX realization for Sid alongside Sid's rework. Now, this will have Vaughn as burst synergy, so that's that on that. Now, with that bit out of the way, we are going to go into the 3rd of September through the 17th of September. It's going to be a Heretic event. This will feature the reworks of Leon and Vivi. Vaughn's burst weapon will come out here alongside Machina coming along as Lost Chapter synergy. Now, I do want to point out here that with the Lost Chapters going forward, not every Lost Chapter will be synergy for future character events. Because there will be some where they're not going to be part of the character event as Lost Chapter synergy, some will be. So with that aspect out of the way now, we're going to go into a new feature for Global called Abyss Perfectum. Now, there are going to be 3 strata coming along, and it is as follows. The 21st of September will be the first stratum. The second will be on the 31st of August. The third stratum will be the 3rd of September. Now, unlike Abyss Normalis, you have to perfect all within the current stratum to move on. Now, I will mention here there are going to be will be limited time rewards tied to Abyss Perfectum and Abyss Normalis. Now, with that bit out of the way, we are going to get into Ultimate Odin. This is the next Ultimate Esper Trial, and the second to last one in the current World of Illusions. This will feature the level 70 and 100 co-op, with the co-op being named Zatex against Supreme. This comes out on the 7th of September. And basically here is that this particular with this particular expert trial, the summon boards tied to it offers flexibility for the units, meaning that you might not want to go a certain path for every single one. Now, when it comes down to the synergy for Ultimate Odin, it is the following. Noctis for Final Fantasy 15, Fang for Final Fantasy 13, 7 for Final Fantasy Type 0, Fran for Final Fantasy 12, Paladin Cecil for Final Fantasy 4, and Irvine for Final Fantasy 8. Now, alongside Ultimate Odin will be Dimensions in Tier 15, and this basically the advice given was, do not bring magic units, bring in melee and those who can knock back. Now, I'm going to do another pause in the video because I do want to go over my notes as clearly as possible. So I'll be back in a couple of minutes. I am back, so like I said, I was looking over my notes a little bit. So on the 14th of September will be the launch chapter for Bosch. This will have Noctis in as burst synergy. So we do know that Bosch will be getting a rework. Now the question comes along is whether or not Bosch will be getting his LD weapon. It remains to be seen. I do have to look at some stuff here and there in this particular regard. So with that bit now out of the way, we're going to go into the lone character event for the month of September. This will be the debut of 9 for Final Fantasy Type 0. This is the 18th of September through the 2nd of October. This will have Bosch as Lost Chapter synergy alongside Noctis as Burst Weapon synergy. So for regular synergy for the event is going to be 9, Barret, and Fujin. So with that aspect out of the way, we're going to go into the reason why I mentioned Maria, Renewal, and Lilith sets. So on the 24th of September will be the Fall Festival 2020 alongside Act 2, Chapter 11, Part 1. Now, I said earlier in the video that Act 2, Chapter 10 is the last one in the main story where the chapter comes out as quote-unquote complete. Because every main story from here on out, after Act 2, Chapter 10, will be split into 2 parts, and this is based on what's currently going on in JP. So, with Act 2, Chapter 11, Part 1, will be the global debut of Odin for Final Fantasy 15. He comes out with the entire kit. 15, 35, EX, LD, and EX weapon. Now with Act 2, Chapter 11, Part 1, will feature a rework for Maria for Final Fantasy 2. She also gets her EX realized and her character enhancement boards. Now, this is also the reason why I mentioned Lilith set for the character enhancement boards, because alongside Maria and Odin, Lilith set is, in fact, synergy for Act 2, Chapter 11, Part 1. Now, they did mention a fall festival, which is, again, the 24th of September. Now, according to the Dissidia database website, there is a raid going on where you're fighting off against both Exdeath and Sephiroth. Now, for this particular synergy, alongside Odin, Maria, and Lilith set, will be Renewal's rework, as well as the debut of Renewal's LD weapon. Alongside Renewal, Maria, Lilith set, and Odin, as synergy would be Kane and Alphino. So, with that, before I get into my thoughts and opinions on all of this, is the stream rewards for September. We are going to be getting 3,000 gems, 20 draw tickets, 10 armor tokens, 1 power stone, and 3 reset stones. Now, we're going to go into the advice, personal opinions of the matter, because I do have to sound off on some stuff here, so please do bear with me. Now, regarding the streams itself, I do feel that moderators are desperately needed for DFFOO. And the reason why I feel that moderators are going to be desperately needed is that some of the stuff I've been seeing on the streams in the recent months, I am scratching my head almost all the time. I mean, I just don't really want to contribute much in chat without reading some idiotic comments, if you will. And having moderators in the chat could help keep things civil. So, with that bit out of the way, I do feel that Global is closing in on JP with varying content, if not all of it. Because the fact that we're seeing 2 parts of the main story within the same month of the calendar, this could mean that Global is on the path of becoming more pay-to-play due to lack of foresight. Now, this could be concerning for some, but I have to tell it like it is. Now, with that bit out of the way, we may be seeing more Heretic events coming along. It's a bit of a wait and see on that. Now, regarding the lack of free multis, we do need to exercise caution when spending our resources. Now, for those of us who are global only like myself, we can start the countdown to the following eras: the Lufenia, which is another difficulty, as well as the 8080 Awakenings. Now, the whole thing with Maria and Lilith set alongside Renewal, they are tied to Odin in varying aspects, so that's why I included them here instead of the October one. So it may be a little bit misinformation, but I am referring to the Dissidia database website because, again, with Act 2, Chapter 11, Part 1, Maria does get her rework there alongside her EX realization. Lilith joins Odin and Maria as synergy for that particular part in the main story, so it does make sense for me to include both Maria and Lilith in that regard. Now, for the Fall Festival, this is around the time on JP where Renewal gets her rework alongside the debut of her LD. There are varying characters who some of us may feel could get the Renewal treatment, and I agree with that. So, I do feel that we're going to be seeing another raid around the 24th of September, so that is why I included Renewal in this equation. Now, with that bit out of the way, my final thoughts here is that I am convinced a little bit more so now that Global is closing in on JP with content, and I do feel that Global will be the more pay-to-play version of the game because of lack of legislation. We do know that this game is no longer available in Belgium under legal circumstances. And I just wish that people would stop saying that Global is more generous, Global has more free multis, because we don't have a free multi to my knowledge from the recent stream. So that's on that. Now, with that bit out of the way, I'm going to get going. So with that, I'm done. With Wolvie here, signing off. I will catch you all on the flip side.